There was supposedly a time, which clearly it's not, that Miles decided to sit down with John. I had talked to John about some debt that I had gotten into with just general stuff, buying some furniture, buying and enjoying my life a little bit. And John wanted to help with that. That debt was before John came in the picture. So every month I was still paying and I was struggling. And John was like, I want to pay your debt off. I see how hard you struggle every month. You're paying $600-700 on credit cards. You're sinking. You need a little bit of help. The very beginning, I was like, no, I don't need you to send it. I got myself in this mess. After a while, he kept saying, please, let me send it to you. Please. I was like, okay, forget it. All right, if you feel like you want to send it to me, I will show you screenshots of the debt. We will accumulate the total, and you can do it. He said, okay, cool. And, of course, at the time, I was talking to Miles. And I was like, he wants to have lunch with you. He kind of wants to explain why he hasn't been meeting me. And, I mean, why not? Let's hear him out. So, Miles went on a lunch date with John, which clearly didn't happen. Well, he might have went on a date by himself. I don't fucking know. So, I waited and kind of just went along my day. And Miles texted me. He said I had lunch with him. I was like, so he does exist. He's like, yeah, he's a real person. And I felt good. I felt like my best friend finally approved of someone that I was happy with. And maybe some of the drama in the chat room would subside a little bit. And Miles goes, he showed me the check. I said, oh. He goes, yeah, he's going to send you the check for the debt. And part of me felt this pressure of getting payday goal. $700 in credit card debt. I felt the pressure of it slowly releasing. I thought things were going to be okay. I was going to have a new start. And I said, okay. So I was like, is he paralyzed from the car accident? Like, what happened? It's like, no, I sent him a picture of the picture that John gave me that he claimed was him. And he's like, yeah, that's the person in the picture. That's exactly the person. He looks exactly like that. And I said, oh, really? Like, I was getting so excited that this person really does exist. Clearly he exists somewhere. Just wasn't in my world. And I was like, okay, so he does exist. Okay. Another reason why I never thought Miles was John. I mean, he made up a whole scenario about going to lunch with this guy that I was clearly had feelings for. Like, what? What were the odds of that? You know, there's no way. I mean, you're just going to a whole nother level. Well, he did go to that whole nother level. John supposedly sent out the check. And I waited. I waited the first day and I was like, did you send the check? And he never 100% said, yes, I sent the check. No, I didn't. He always changed the subject. Which I have an attention span of a 3-year-old. If you dangle something tiny in front of my face and then dangle something else in front of my face, I'm stomach, I'm hungry, sorry. I'm gonna look back and forth. You're not gonna be able to catch my attention on one thing specifically. So, I was like, did you send the check? And he would be like, so, how's your day going? It would throw me off. After 2 days of waiting, I got really annoyed. I felt really blown off. I said, John, did you send the check? Like, this was your idea to do this whole thing. Did you send the check or not? Yes, I sent it. So, I thought it was a little odd that it was just so, yes, I sent it, and it wasn't blunt. He wasn't worried about it. I just assumed maybe he had tracking on it. I don't know. 4th day rolled around. Now keep in mind, he lives 6 hours away, so going through the mail should only take 2 days. 4th day rolled around. I'm literally looking out the window like a dog. Like, I was so worried someone else got this check and was going to cash it and was going to just, I don't know. I had worst case scenarios for everything. So I told John, I said, I never got the check. What is going on? I'm looking out the window. I can't function. I can't sleep right because I'm worried I'm going to miss this letter that I'm supposed to be signing for. I don't remember 100% how the conversation went, but he admitted to never sending the check. The check never existed. And I guess at the time I thought maybe that John had wrote a fake check just to make it like a real check, but it wasn't ever sent out. He never intended to send it out. And I said, so why would you do that? Like, why didn't you just tell me I don't want to send you the money, or I changed my mind? Why would you have me sitting here for 4 days looking for the mailman like a dog? Like, I literally camped in front of my door because I was so scared that I was going to miss this letter. I don't remember the excuse he used why he never sent it, to be honest with you. It was something, like I said, it was never really important to me. And I meant to say this earlier, but a lot of people thought I was so intertwined with John because of the money. And I want to go ahead and clear that up and say that is absolutely not true. Which, of course, everybody's like, well, I know she's not going to admit it. But here's the thing. John wouldn't tip for months. And keep in mind, when John was in the picture, Miles wasn't. So, whatever I made on the website is whatever I made. And there was no help. John didn't tip through the website. He didn't send money. There was many months, like a stream of months. There was 3-4 months that he never tipped. Towards the end, he never sent money. Ever. Never, ever, ever. And even when we filmed, he was like, I know you had to take some time off. I'm going to send you $1,000 after this is all filmed and done. And I knew he wasn't. I knew he wasn't. But, again, he told me on his own that he was going to do it. And never did. I still talked to John. I didn't ever get upset that he never tipped. There were nights I would get upset because the night was slow and I was worried that I wasn't going to get payday goal. Even then, there were times he didn't tip and I didn't cut him off. So John was more to me than money. You know, I really felt like we had so much in common. And I understand why he did it. What I don't understand is all of it. Like, he went so far to having me believe that he existed. He did, and I don't understand why he went to such lengths. Because I remember specifically saying, hey, if you're not the person in the picture, I'm okay with that. Just tell me who you are. I even said that like a month before we filmed. Just tell me, because I am so exhausted. And he swore up and down he was the person in the picture. I remember being at Walmart one time and I was buying groceries or something. And I was on the phone with him. And we were supposed to be meeting, but of course we didn't meet. He was too scared, so I went ahead and just took care of what I had to take care of. So I went grocery shopping. I was in the store. And he goes, you know what's funny? I said, what? And he said, for someone that has OCD, you're sure not worried if your tires match. Took me a minute to sink in. And I stopped everything I was doing and I ran outside. Because I was like, what? Before I ran outside, I was thinking, I was like, what? And he said, yeah. One of your tires is a Goodyear tire and the rest are Firestone. At that time I had a used car, so I didn't put tires on it. And like I said, I stopped everything I was doing and I bolted outside. And he was gone. There was no, well, I don't know if he was there or not, but he was gone. There was no trace of anybody. And I looked at my car. And I looked at the tires. And he was right. One of my tires was different than all the others. One was a Goodyear tire. How did he know that if he was never there? He was there. So I sat in the car for a little bit and talked to him. Basically just kind of left my car in the middle of the store. And he was like, did you get the note that was left on the car? I said, no, what note? He goes, I left you a little sticky note on your windshield. I never got it. So I always questioned if he was really there. Could he have seen the car before and noticed it? Yeah, and just never said nothing up until that point, possibly. There was times he was like, he would wait and suddenly bring something up. He goes, how come you never told me brought up my shirt? I was like, what? So yeah, I left my shirt behind your trash can one day with a bunch of letters and like a journal that I've been writing since day one of meeting you. At that time, I was pissed because I felt like I had missed something so important. It was so important to me. That shit never existed. You know how I know that never existed? Because if he had a shirt and he left it, why would you wait? It was like 3 or 4 months after that he brought it up. He was like, how come you never brought up the shirt? I left it like 3 or 4 months ago. He just suddenly brought it up. And if he did, it was not his shirt because clearly Miles is a much bigger man. And the person in the actual picture, I don't know where they got the picture from the show from, But the actual picture I had was a much smaller man. So there was mind games he played with me all the time. It wasn't just that, oh, I was too insecure about who I was, so I just kept standing you up, which is what the show made it come off as. Absolutely not. This man would let me believe scenarios that never existed. Like I told you at the Miles video, he told me that he was struggling working minimum wage at a gas station. That never existed. It wasn't true. Why would you stress me out like that? I was shocked how many emails and characters he played throughout this whole process. He played Miles. He played John. He played his sister. Because when I called the number was like a fake app number. There were ways that John would twist things and have me believing that there was something I was missing. And I think that was the one thing that pissed me off more than any of it. Because I told him, why have I never spoke to your sister? Why have I spoke to absolutely nobody? Not just, I've only spoke to you. Why is that? And he was like, no, I asked you if you wanted to video chat on Skype, I asked if you wanted to video chat on Snapchat one time. And I started to think, like, what the fuck? What did I miss a whole thing? Like, when did you ask me this? Because I really don't ever remember you even bringing it up, because that sounds like something I would jump to in a heartbeat. Like, I would pull my car over in the middle of the road and go on the shoulder and we would video chat. Because keep in mind, I've never seen him. And he didn't just send one picture, he sent like 3. And I know they didn't use the pictures of the guy that had the pictures. They said because they never knew, and he never admitted to where he got the pictures. So I don't think they were able to clear it. But I don't know. I remember stories. I remember telling him goals. I remember telling him everything. After filming, so during filming, he was a complete pain in the butt. There was things he was telling the producers. He was throwing fits. And basically, like, this is what we're going to do or I'm not doing it. And of course, if you don't have the catfish, you really don't have an episode. And it just kept me in limbo. I can't talk about production, so I'm trying to, like, tiptoe through this without saying anything. But basically, the whole show was always in limbo because he always had some sort of fit. During filming, during this process of meeting and leaving me hanging kind of thing, my feelings really started to change. Like, it became an obsession at first. And it was so bad that I would have to force myself to sleep because I was so scared he was going to finally want to meet and I would have passed out. And I wouldn't have got the text, and then he would have been scared and we wouldn't have been able to meet, and I would have hated myself. But okay. So after, I was basically over it. There were so many times I was just like, look, John, it's now or never. I can't keep doing this. It is killing me. It is really eating me up alive. I'll remember one night specifically, I'm like, show up now. Right now, or we're done. It's over. And he kept saying, no, please, no, please, no, please. And I hung up. And I felt like there was so much pressure on my chest. I felt like I had missed out on something. But I wanted to meet him so bad that it was literally killing me. That was all I was thinking about. And I became, if you wanted something so bad for so long, you start to get consumed by it. You start thinking of different methods on how to get that thing. You know, next time you come into town, either your location's on or don't bother coming. Like, you started to think, like, I would hit up my cop friends and I'd be like, hey, I have a friend in town. I can't really find him. What do I do? And of course, because he wasn't in any like mental danger or danger to somebody else, that there was nothing they could do. But I kept thinking of different ways to meet him. And after so long, I became numb. I became so exhausted. And I was really hurt that he let me stress about something so much. He literally heard me crying on the phone, begging him to meet me. I couldn't figure out why he just didn't want to take the plunge and start a life with me. I didn't understand it. And it broke me. So after filming, like during the filming process, I got to the point where I wanted nothing to do with him. He was telling the producers, I don't want to film unless her mom is coming, because he was talking to my mom at some points in time too. And my mom had to tell him, yeah, I'm coming, I'll be there. And that was how we were able to film, because had my mom not said, hey, I'm going to be there, I would have never been there. And it's crazy. But like, he would play these mind games. Like, you're either going to play by my rules or we're not playing at all. And it would have the producers freaking out, because I'm in LA already filming and he's not wanting to do the show. And everybody's just like, well, we can't get paid if we don't have a show. The crew. Like, we can't air anything if there's not a fish. And like, the crew doesn't get paid. We don't have an episode. You don't have a catfish. Like, there's nothing to film here if he doesn't film. So everybody's all over here like, eeh. And I'm over here like, you're feeding this guy like he's a 5-year-old. Stop giving him what he wants. But at the same time, you had to, or we wouldn't have had a show. Like, he was like, I don't want to film unless Nina calls me right now. And there were times I was just like, no, I'm not calling him. I'm done playing these games. He's been doing it for 3 years. Another thing I want to quickly bring up was there was a time in the episode where they made it seem like shortly after my divorce, I fell for Miles. That was not the truth. My situation was slightly different, but I know we were on TV. We only had like 42 minutes or something like that to film 2 days worth of episode in 3 years of a story. Mike and I divorced in 2011. We were young. We didn't really know what we wanted. We kind of wanted to, I didn't want to, but he was over taking care of me, which I don't blame him. And I'm glad it happened, because had he had not done it, I would have always relied on him to take care of me. I became financially stable. I bought several cars by myself. I enjoyed life, and I think after so many years of watching me live my life, he realized he wanted to be with me. But we divorced in 2011. I started camming in 2012. I met Miles, and I believe in like the first year or two of camming. I'm really bad with remembering this shit right now. But a few years of camming, a couple years of camming, and then this would have been like the fourth, I believe November would have been the 4th year that John and I would have known each other. So I kind of want to show you guys, last year would have been the 4th year, so 2018. So I met him in like 2014, 2015. So it was years after. I don't want people to think like, oh, she was just vulnerable. She was on the mend. She needed a hero. No. I was fine. Mike and I were living together. We were co-parenting together. We were basically playing house, but nobody was really claiming each other. Like, everybody knew we were together, but we were never actually together. We didn't go on dates. I never celebrated anniversaries anyway. I didn't care for him. Never celebrated Valentine's Day because I didn't care. Birthdays, we celebrated together. We were a family in the household. Everybody knew Mike and Nina. But we weren't officially together. I was never with anybody else except for the whole John incident. To my knowledge, Mike was never with anybody else. So I don't want people to think that I just jumped from one guy to the other. That was never the case. Mike and I were separated for a long time. We lived together. We kind of played house together. He never claimed me as his, so I always kind of felt like we just lived together. And at the time it worked. We were raising our children. There was no custody battles. Nobody was arguing. Everybody was fine. I was still taking care of mine. He was still taking care of his. I was paying bills. He was paying bills. We went out together. Like, when we would go clubbing with our friends, we would go out together. When we would go with trips out of town with friends, we would go together. But I just didn't want people to think I jumped from man to man. So, after filming, I don't want to say I felt relief, and I don't want to say I felt empty. But at the same time, I want to say I felt both. Never went on the show to debate who I wanted to be with. I was on the show to tell John to leave me alone. I had blocked this man so many times. When we started productions, they asked me for all the phone numbers and all the emails and all the stuff he had ways to contact me. I had over 17 emails for John. There were times I was just so emotionally drained that I just was like, I'm done. I cannot do it anymore. I can't be my best self. I can't be the best mom. I cannot be best at work when I'm sitting here with this heavy heart. And I felt relief after filming because I thought it was over. There was no more mystery dates. There was no more lies. There was no more questioning. I felt hurt in the aspect that it was Miles. Because had a stranger told me that this would happen to me, or if this happened to me, I would have never suspected the best friend. Never would I suspect someone that held me, what I thought so near and dear to me. He kept talking about he didn't have any friends, he only had me, I was so important to him. I would never think he would have done that to me. But it was over. And I remember right after I got remarried in 2016. I feel like I should know that. I don't know. These years lately have been flying by that I can't even keep up. In 2016, when I remarried, Mike had asked me to just stop talking to him for at least a couple months and give the marriage a solid effort. And that is exactly what I did. So there was a time in 2016 that I blocked him completely, left it alone. I just wanted to be left alone. So again, I blocked him from everything. Chat room was blocked. I kept blocking Missouri as the state because you can block separate states. I kept blocking the state. Just wanted him to stop. But for some reason, never figured out when I blocked the state he was still coming into the room. Well, because he lived in Ohio. He didn't live in Missouri. Because he's Miles. So he was blocked from the chat room. He was blocked from my phone. He was taken off Snapchat. I removed him off Pinterest. And I found it funny because now I'm playing it back. I remember there was a time, I remember exactly where I was. I was at a bar with Mike. We were actually kicking it and shooting pool. And he texted me as John and he said, there were some things I know about you that I wish you would have told me. And I was like, what are you talking about? He was like, I know you live with Mike. And I was like, how do you know that? He also knew about my trip to Hawaii. And I couldn't figure out how he knew any of that. Well, we made a Facebook page. I don't remember if I spoke about this in the Miles page. Miles story. I don't know if we spoke about this in the Miles part. But we made a Facebook page where I would send him funny memes and funny snaps and just general stuff we have in common. And that's how he was tracking everything I was doing. He knew when I was out of town with who I was with. By Facebook posts and pictures, he knew that I lived with someone because Facebook. Everything he knew through Facebook, and I couldn't figure out how he knew everything. When we filmed, he said that wasn't the way, but really there is no other way that he would know that I was in Hawaii with my husband other than Facebook, because that's where we posted it. It was just always a game. Everything was a game played. And I'm not saying I'm innocent in this at all. Like I said, the reason I made this video, because I really honestly thought I was going to get way more emotional and have way more feeling towards it. But I'm kind of in the state of it is what it is. This was just how it was played out, and this is how it was supposed to play out, unfortunately. But like I said, I started these videos and I started making this YouTube channel so you guys could kind of understand that there was way more to my life and my situation than the 42 minutes on TV. I don't want you guys to think that I was this mean person, but I don't also want you guys to think that I was innocent. I was wrong. I was really wrong. And then there are things that I can't talk about on TV that I know happened and my husband knows that happened because we witnessed it, but we can't legally talk about it. And it would make more sense if I could, but I can't. But I kind of wanted to tell you guys my point of the story, because there was way more in my story, obviously, than we could put on TV, but a lot of it was misconstrued, especially like the timeline of when I met John and when I was with Mike and things like that, and why I was on the show. I think my next video will probably be one of my last. I have a ton of questions from people that have been asking me questions about this that I want to address. And I want to rewatch the episode and address some of the things that were different, which I've addressed in a few other videos, but I'd like to address more. Like I've kind of explained to you the timeline of where everything happened. I explained to you guys that the locations were different for some reason. I've explained to you guys a lot of things, but I want to go through the episode and make sure there was nothing different. There was some drama at the reveal that never aired, which was shocking because I really thought it was good enough to air. It was enough juicy drama, but I guess not. Not quite sure. But I will film again soon. I don't have any trips coming up. I don't have any plans coming up. So it should be like easy flowing from here. So I hope to see you guys soon. Keep following my story. There will be 2 or 3 parts to this video since this video is so long. So keep in mind that if you watch one video, make sure you watch them in order, or you're going to get really confused. Hell, I'm confused. This is my damn story. Anyways, thank you guys so much for listening. If you guys have any questions, shoot me a DM on Instagram. You can tweet me on Twitter, or hell, write it in the comments below and I will address them. I can add it to the story that I will make soon. And like and subscribe. Follow the rest of it. We're almost done with the story. Bye for now, guys.